Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Deadpool and Wolverine. Welcome to MCU Deadpool and Wolverine, starring Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, Emma Corrin, Marina Baccarin, Rob Delaney, Leslie Uggams, Aaron Stanford, and Matthew McFadden, directed by Sean Levy. Now, before I get into this movie, the reason I didn't put this as appropriate for kids, because this movie's not appropriate for kids. It's rated R. And I also put in the beginning of the show that this will contain harsh language. And come on, why are parents taking kids to a movie like this? When I went to see this in IMAX the first time, I was sitting right next to a family that when the Alien Romulus trailer popped up, the little boy was like kind of freaking out. And I'm like, oh God, do you really have to take your kids to a movie like this? Very irresponsible parenting, I'm not going to lie. And because it's Deadpool in the Marvel world, and there's going to be some things I didn't bring up that I should have reviewed, like Loki, for example. But I don't do TV series. But the second viewing was better than the first viewing in IMAX, where I had to sit next to a family and they were talking about maybe a little bit at a time, but I just couldn't hear the dialogue based on how I was hearing them. But anyways, don't take your kids to this movie. The bottom line is that this is an R-rated movie for a damn good reason. So, let's get into the movie. We open with Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, returned by Ryan Reynolds, digging up Wolverine's body and sits and chats with Hugh Jackman's Australian accent as it's all bones until the Time Variance Authority, aka the TVA, from the Loki series arrives. And remember, I didn't review Loki because that's a TV series, not a miniseries. I only do miniseries, not TV series. And Deadpool kills every single last one of the motherfuckers while Instinct's Bye 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 is playing, which has got to be the most hilarious thing about the movie, as it's nostalgic and excuse me. And in my opinion, best part of the whole movie, in my opinion. I'm not gonna lie, that's the best part of the whole fucking movie. Well, no matter what I think of this movie, that's the best scene. While Deadpool is dancing to the song as he uses the Wolverine claws to kill the rest, and like the first two movies, we go back 6 years earlier as Wade is retiring from superheroing after he doesn't get a spot in the Avengers team, with an interview by Happy Hogan returned by Jon Favreau. And it was nice to see him again as we move on to 6 years later, and Wade works with Peter, returned by Rob Delaney, at a car company where he sells cars, as he hasn't sold any car yet. And I did like the opening scene, but Deadpool needs to start telling a story chronologically. And this scene where Wade tries to sell a car was rather a strange choice for Wade after retirement from superhero days. Peter bikes home with Wade and goes to his house for a surprise birthday party, along with Blind Al, returned by Leslie Uggams, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, returned by Brianna Hildebrand, along with her girlfriend Yukio, Colossus, Buck from the first two films, who barely is in this as well, as Dopinder, and most importantly, Vanessa, returned by Marina Baccarin, after their breakup 6 years earlier from this turn of events in this movie, because Wade has to do something with his life, and he couldn't get there in time. And I like seeing these characters barely in the movie, as Wade is charming in this film, as Ryan Reynolds plays the character perfectly. While unfortunately Marina Baccarin didn't get along with Ryan Reynolds in real life. And I don't know if this is true. This is just something I heard. She hated filming the sex scenes in the first movie. While I heard a rumor, and this could be wrong, tell me if this is wrong, that Ryan Reynolds is a douchebag. I don't know if that's true. Don't blame me. Blame some people that I've heard that from. While she dumped him for a guy she works with at her job, where she gets a promotion, until the TVA, led by Mr. Paradox, played by Matthew McFadden, captures Wade to go on a mission to save his world, which happens to be Earth 100005, to go to Earth 616 to bring Wolverine back to the TVA. And is the humor working for me? Well, the opening scene did work for me as far. The humor in this is kind of working on me, kind of. I'm gonna confess, I'm not a big fan of the R-rated raunchy humor kind of bullshit. I'm not gonna lie, I think this is kind of working, but not as much as like but it's not worse like any of that other shit that's been out lately. Wade reluctantly agrees to look for the anchor being, which happens to be of the variant of Logan, aka Wolverine, returned by Hugh Jackman with a new costume. Wade calls himself Marvel Jesus and tells 20th Century Fox to go fuck themselves, and goes to as he's going to Disneyland because the Fox buyout by Disney, which works for me as far as the humor is concerned. As Wade learns about Paradox's plan as well as some power machine, and he wants to be the TVA, and we go back to Deadpool murdering the TVA assholes, like one in the anus and another one in the ass, and another one in the and kills one more guy and says the line, "Get my country's name out of your fucking mouth," which is what Will Smith said to Chris Rock after slapping him at the Oscars one year. As Wade finds different variants of Logan gets ripped apart every single time, even the Calverine, who's cameoed by Henry Cavill, which was a slap in the face to DC and Warner Brothers, which was hilarious in my opinion. Wade finds the right Wolverine/Logan as he picks him up and chugs some whiskey and knocks him out, and Wade brings Logan back to Paradox as Logan is the worst Wolverine, while Wade yells and wants to tell his boss in the TVA as Paradox brings Deadpool and Wolverine to a world called the Void from Loki Season 1, Episode 5. As Deadpool and Wolverine fight one another, which was the moment we've all been waiting for after that god-awful X-Men Origins Wolverine movie. And Wade tells Logan he can make the TVA fix his line, and Chris Evans shows up as Wade is led to believe he's Captain America, while Pyro, returned by Aaron Stanford from X-Men 2 and 3, Toad, Sabretooth from both of them from the first X-Men movie, as we learn Chris Evans' character is Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch from the Tim Story's Fantastic Four films. And these cameos were great. Johnny gets knocked out for now, and we get another Wolverine versus Sabretooth fight as Wolverine cuts Sabretooth's head off, and Toad captures both Deadpool and Wolverine and brings them to Cassandra Nova's territory. Now, Cassandra, played by Emma Corrin, is Professor X's, aka Charles Xavier's twin sister, and Wade tells Cassandra Johnny has some shit sayings for Cassandra, as she kills Johnny. And come on, Wade did get him killed as he talks too much, as Ryan Reynolds owns the role of Deadpool while Hugh Jackman owns the role of Wolverine. And they work together by escaping. Cassandra gets inside Wade's head, and it shows how Vanessa dumped Wade in the beginning of the movie by saying she doesn't want him, while Cassandra says he'll never fucking matter, while Wolverine stabs Cassandra and she escapes while a giant cloud creature comes in, and Logan and Wade get out of there by a sentinel's foot, I'm led to believe, and Wade says he'll take Blake as in he'll tell Blake as in his wife Blake Lively, and they about how much they touch each other, and they go to a dinner and have some food, and they walk to a place where they have to find a car until they come to Dogpool, aka Mary Poppins, and Nice Pool, and Wade brings up Hugh Jackman's divorce, which happened somewhat recently, as that piece of humor didn't work as well, as it was too soon for Nice Pool, taking Wade and Logan to a Honda Odyssey car for a trade to give Nice Pool's doggy back, as they drive away with the music choices for this movie, as it works quite well for me. I think I'm going to own the soundtrack like I will with Twisters. Logan drives as Wade says they fixed your world for an educated guess, and explains to Logan how he lied as he doesn't know how to save the world, and Logan said some shit to Wade as Wade starts to fight Logan, and goes on all motherfucking day, while a song from Grease comes on, which is the funniest fight in this whole movie, in the whole night, until Elektra, returned by Jennifer Garner from the 2003 Daredevil movie, takes them to an underground where they have a revolution along with Blade, returned by Wesley Snipes, as they must have hugged it out after Blade Trinity, because they didn't like each other back then, as well as Remy LeBeau, aka the Gambit, played by Channing Tatum, as that was a rumor for 6 years after the development hell, as well as X-23, aka Laura, returned by Daphne Keane, from Logan. as they discuss a way to defeat Cassandra and tells them Wade got Johnny killed while they talk about defeating Cassandra by using the Juggernaut's helmet. And I really like these cameos, as it was hard to understand a damn word Gambit said, but he was a cool character. Laura tells Logan she got to grow up because of him, and he brought up how he got the X-Men killed in the first place by an army of angry, hating people against mutants, and Laura gives Logan a pep talk about how Logan should help them out as they go after Cassandra in her hideout and start finding Cassandra and her other bad mutants, with Logan, Deadpool, fight with Gambit, X-23, Elektra, and Blade fight against all the bad mutants, as I was disappointed about how Vinnie Jones didn't come back to be the Juggernaut from X-Men 3, as he's not in this movie. And the fight between 6 good mutants versus a shitload of bad mutants, as this was fun. Deadpool and Wolverine confront Cassandra while they stall on time, with X-23 cutting off Juggernaut's legs and takes his helmet off as Cassandra took into Logan's head while he confesses he walked away from the X-Men, while X-23 throws Juggernaut's helmet and Deadpool puts on the helmet as her and Pyro shoots Pyro shoots Cassandra, and Logan punches Pyro and says, "Not everyone needs a speech." And Logan tells Wade to take the helmet off, as Logan is doing it for Charles, as Cassandra gets Wade and Logan back to Earth 100005 by a portal from Doctor Strange, while X-23, Gambit, Elektra, and Blade defeat every single bad fucking mutant, which was a fun fight sequence in my opinion. Cassandra goes to Earth 10005 while Wade and Logan confront Paradox, as Wade and Logan are going to destroy the Time Ripper, but Cassandra has different plans as she goes in there to take over the Time Ripper, as Deadpool and Wolverine are forced back to Dogpool, and Dogpool comes in to Deadpool and Wolverine, as does Nicepool, and we get a shitload of Deadpools from different universes, as the multiverse saga is something I agree with, as it's a mess. While time travel is hard enough for me as it is, but it's better than in The Flash as far as time travel is concerned, as Lady Deadpool, played by Blake Lively, shoots and kills Nicepool, while Wade is stalling on time to get Dogpool, as he got him down on purpose, and steals his 2 golden guns, which is amusing. And I had to listen closely to one of the Deadpools, and I was like, is that Matthew McConaughey? Because I know he's in the credits. Well, no, I don't know that, but I looked it up after I saw the movie the first time. Deadpool and Wolverine start fighting the other Deadpools, and we get the mask from the animated X-Men TV series with Wolverine, I'll say, as well as the comic books, and they fight with the song by Madonna going on in the background at one point. I saw a Stan Lee Easter egg that says Stan Lee Steamer, and eventually Peter comes in and saves the lives of Deadpool and Wolverine, and they love him to death, and says every Deadpool has a Peter, and Cassandra gets to the Time Ripper, as Paradox tells Deadpool and Wolverine how to destroy the Time Ripper. And they go there, and Deadpool and Wolverine argue about who gets to go and to destroy the Time Ripper. And Deadpool knocks out Wolverine briefly, and he gets in the room without Wolverine. And takes a while, as I'm thinking, oh, come on, with the stalling, Wade. I mean, Jesus Christ. And Deadpool gets one of the energy pieces out while Wolverine breaks in, and they reach for the other one as a team, while Madonna continues to play in the background, and they destroy the Time Ripper, which felt epic. B-15 comes in as the Paradox's boss, and she was in the Loki series, played by the same actress. And Paradox gets chewed out while Deadpool and Wolverine come out surviving the Time Ripper, and Peter comes in and calls him Peterpool to tell her to leave Deadpool and Wolverine belong in this Earth 10005. As he asks B-15 to fix Wolverine's timeline and have some shawarma, but unfortunately she can't fix that. But they have shawarma as they get Dogpool, and Wade adopts him, as Logan almost walks away but introduces him to Blind Al, as Logan have a party along with some of Wade's friends, as Wade talks with Vanessa, and they might work some things out, as X-23 is also there. And the credits roll to a behind-the-scenes look at the previous X-Men movies, and after the credits, Deadpool tracks down what Johnny Storm said about Cassandra putting words in his mouth, which was clever. And the climax, it was good and fun, but at the same time, is it as good as the first Deadpool or Logan? Let's find out in the rating. I'll give this movie a 7.3 out of 10. Ryan Reynolds owns the role of Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, while Hugh Jackman owns the role of Logan, aka Wolverine, as they work well together, and the other characters are pretty well developed, even the returning characters from other films, as I liked some of the cameos, but half the humor worked more than the other half didn't work as well as the others, like Hugh Jackman's divorce somewhat recently. And I liked the movie, but it's not the best Marvel Cinematic Universe nor the best Deadpool movie, as that was the first movie, in my opinion. And same goes with Wolverine, as Logan was the best one, in my opinion. And the Doggy Doggy was pretty cute, while the movies need to start off chronologically, as the first movie did it best, but no more after that. Despite I once again liked the cameos, the only thing I was disappointed in was Juggernaut was a different actor instead of Vinnie Jones from X-Men 3, but at the same time, the action sequences are fun and epic. The movie is definitely better than The Flash as far as time travel is concerned, but this isn't as good as Avengers Endgame in my opinion, as that had something to do with the time travel also. And this is a recommendation, but is this the best MCU movie? Not in my opinion, but it isn't the worst either, as that was Eternals. But this one was pretty good, and you'll have a good time with the cameos from the before the MCU exists. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and I will be back with maybe either Agatha All Along or Captain America: The Brave New World. We'll see how that goes. So until then, Avengers Assemble!